Hello and welcome to the United Stand, the morning after the night before, and positivity is needed. I did say on my match reaction last night that we need to move on, and we will move on with something that probably is a bit more positive for us, a bit of transfer news. Didn't discuss it yesterday, obviously, because it was the derby, but this twist in relation to Neymar did come out. Now, I am reacting to news here. I'm not saying Neymar's about to sign for Manchester United. In fact, I've got a theory on it, but the reality is, this was in the press yesterday, that Neymar believes that Manchester United are going to activate his buyout clause. This has come, it's come through friends of Neymar, so it could. I actually think there's some truth in it. What I would say to start off with, the reason I believe there's some truth in it is because it's not Neymar saying I'm going to sign for Manchester United. It's well known in the football community and press that Neymar isn't totally committed to Barcelona. I think he feels he needs a little bit more love, if that makes sense. But he's not totally committed to leaving Barcelona. It's a bit of a halfway house. He signed a new contract last year with Barcelona, funnily enough, because that's where he plays. And he has the year one of that 5-year contract is a 200 million buyout clause. Then it goes to 220 million in year 2, 250 million in year 3. So it's pretty much 170 million pounds sterling at the moment, which is going to go up to around 200 million sterling over the next couple of years, which is a ridiculous amount of money. And what Neymar is saying is he suspects that Manchester United are going to trigger that clause this summer, which is 170 million pounds. Then the ball's in the court of Neymar as to whether he wants to come. Now, it sounds ridiculous that Manchester United would be willing to, and I've got a De Gea update for you as well, but it sounds ridiculous that Manchester United would be interested in spending 170 million pounds. But this is Neymar. Neymar is a massive, massive name worldwide. I nearly said Neymar again. He's a massive Neymar worldwide. He's a massive name worldwide. And him in a Manchester United shirt, if you think Pogba sells shirts, Neymar would be absolutely huge. So I can see, and I've said this consistently on the United Stand, it's well known that Ed Woodward has been after Neymar for probably around 2 or 3 years. He'd love to sign him. We were seriously in for him a couple of years ago. But persuading him to come is almost mission impossible. Although it becomes a little bit more possible if United get Champions League football and with Mourinho. But activating the buyout clause and actually getting Neymar to come is what, you can activate anybody's buyout clause, but if they don't want to come, they won't come. So it's interesting, very interesting. And as I keep saying with Manchester United is, last year, this time in April, if somebody had said we're going to sign Paul Pogba, you'd have been laughed out of town. There's no chance of it happening. And I think there are similarities with Neymar. I don't need to go heart or head. I don't think we will sign him. But if we did sign him, I wouldn't be totally shocked by it. We've got the money to activate that buyout clause. And if he fancied the project at Manchester United, then the deal's done, isn't it? What I would say is, like in the title, if it is Neymar we're going for, I can't see us spending 170 million pounds on Neymar and spending much money on anybody else, because Griezmann's 90 million. So 300 million on Neymar and Griezmann, I can't see us doing that. I mean, that's beyond FIFA talk, that is. It's just ridiculous. But watch this space. It's going to be exciting. And a lot depends on whether we can get Champions League football, of course. De Gea, a little bit on De Gea today, sort of coming from Spain, this is the thing I spoke about on the international break that's now becoming the concern. The drip, drip, drip effect before the end of the season. When it starts to come from Spain, that's when there's a problem. We've had little bits, not massive amounts, but little bits over the last few weeks. But what concerns me, I've just had a comment actually from Nicholas Anderson I need to read out. Thanks for the super chat contribution. Nicholas says, personally don't think Neymar will sign, not that we can't get him. He just doesn't seem a Mourinho type player. Could be wrong though. Thoughts? I pretty much agree with that. But like you, I wouldn't be surprised, Nicholas, if it happened. In relation to De Gea, it's coming from Spain and a few other sources that personal details have been agreed between De Gea and Real Madrid, and that was partly the reason he was dropped for the Sunderland game. He's been told to refocus now to the end of the season, and then he will go. We already know over the last week that there's been these leaks from United that Mourinho is resigned to the fact that De Gea will leave. They share the same agent. It starts to frustrate you when the season's still ongoing. I think that's the problem with it. I think if this came out at the end of May, we'd be disappointed to lose who I believe is the world's best goalkeeper. But not understanding, but accepting of the fact that we nearly lost him 2 years ago. He clearly wants to go back to Spain. And you can't necessarily... You can knock him, but you can sort of understand it. What I don't like is it when it's coming out at the moment, especially the situation United are in. We're on our knees for injury. We've got some massive games coming up, and we don't need press reports about our goalkeeper. Now, it'd be unfair to level at De Gea that he's losing focus, because he was very good against Manchester City without making world-class saves. He was very focused. I remember there was a shot from Aguero from about 30 yards out that he could have palmed it away, and he caught it. So he's on his game, and I think that he needs, obviously, to be applauded for that. He's been one of our best players for the last 3 or 4 years. So, but I do think he will go. And what I've always said is that there is a buyout clause for De Gea. A lot of people say no, there isn't one. I think there is. I think there is a buyout clause in there for De Gea. There's something in his contract that allows him to go to Real Madrid if they make a certain bid, or if they make an offer for him. Because, as I've always said, he was going to Real Madrid. The fax machine broke. He didn't go to Real Madrid, and within a couple of days, he'd signed a new contract at Manchester United. Now, it's accepted that he wanted to go to Real Madrid. He was devastated that it broke down. Why would somebody who really wanted to go to Real Madrid and is devastated sign a brand new long-term contract at United 2 days later, unless there's some sort of clause in there for him to go if he wants to go? So it might not be the 40 million buyout clause that I thought it was, but there's definitely something in there, because otherwise he's in a contract. Don't sell him, keep him. Just because a player wants to leave doesn't mean they leave. There's something in there that allows Real Madrid to get him, and I think they will get him. They will. I don't know why I went to get him. They will get him this summer, which means we've got to sort a goalkeeper out. But that's life. You move on. I think there are big implications for Manchester United. I didn't really want to talk about. I didn't want to talk about the game last night again, or whenever it was, against Man City, whenever you're watching, because it's gone and we need to park it. But all I would say about that game is there's 3 things I wanted to say. One, that's why we miss Paul Pogba. That's why Paul Pogba's a very good midfielder, because it's not about the goals, it's not about the assists, it's about him as a midfielder, and we dreadfully missed him yesterday. 2, I think the result was acceptable. I thought the performance was unacceptable. This is a Manchester derby, and to go and play for a draw, it just doesn't fit. It doesn't fit with Manchester United. If Van Gaal had done that last year, which he did, we'd all go mad about it. And we can hide behind fatigue and this, that and the other, and not having any other options. But it comes to my other point, is that result was luck. It wasn't good. It wasn't a good defensive performance. It was lucky that we got a draw. And I've heard people going on about we had a game plan, we got a draw, that's what matters. Well, we may have had a game plan to get a draw, but it wasn't our performance that deserved the draw. I think City should be kicking themselves for not taking the chances and being quite wasteful in the final third, because they cut through us so many times. So I'm very happy with the draw, but it wasn't deserved, and I'm a bit concerned, and this is where I'm leading up to here, that the summer that we've got is going to be really important, but we're going to lose. If De Gea goes, massive influence. Carrick's clearly going to go. I think we saw against City that those legs haven't got many more miles left in them at all. And Rooney's obviously going to go. Mourinho spoke about lack of options in the midfield yesterday. I'm sorry, but Wayne Rooney's not really a midfielder, but he's a better midfielder than Fellaini. And why you wouldn't bring on your captain in that sort of performance and take Fellaini out, who wasn't playing very well, who will give you a bit of tenacity and leadership in the midfield. I just think that's a massive, massive sign yet again, and I don't think we need many more signs, that Rooney is going to go this summer, and that Mourinho doesn't really want to use him that much, because I thought that City game was crying out for Rooney on so many levels. A bit of aggression, a bit of leadership. He's a good midfielder, but no, he didn't use him, so that was quite surprising. And I think Rooney goes this summer, Carrick goes this summer, De Gea goes this summer, and whoever we sign, that's 3 big influences that Manchester United will lose, and it's worth bearing in mind, definitely. Gungshi says we could easily have lost that match. Yeah, we could have done, but I do totally agree. We need to move on. It's a point in the grand scheme of things. Before the game, there's a few people who said they would have taken that point, and I read a very good line today that Man City are not our rival for top 4. You look at their running that they've got, and even if we'd beaten them yesterday, we probably would have had to win all our games just to stay ahead of them, because they've got a fantastic running. They've got like 3 or 4 home games. They've got Middlesbrough away. They've got a really good run in, Man City, and you would expect them, based on the way they played yesterday, to get all those wins. Our rival for top 4 is Liverpool. We're 2 points behind them with a game in hand, and we could do with them dropping another result, because playing like we did yesterday with all the injuries, I can't see us going to Spurs and getting a result. And even I think Arsenal, with all the rest that they've got, I think they'll give us a tough game as well. Manchester United's problem at the moment is lack of players. Fosu Mensah dislocating his shoulder. He's only played about 20 minutes this season, and he's out. Fellaini's obviously got himself banned for 3 games. The midfield is messed up, really messed up. We may have to just reach into the youth and try and pull out a gem, and I hope there is one, but it's hard. But because we've got to keep fighting, and we're in the fight, and if we'd lost the game yesterday like we probably deserved to, we wouldn't really be in the fight for top 4. So it is still there. Back to transfer news, I wanted to talk about Franck Kessie, Ivorian Coast midfielder at Atalanta, 20 years of age. I prefer Kessie to Bakayoko. I've said it a long time as our replacement defensive midfielder. I think he's got the lot. He's about to sign for Roma, which is disappointing because, you know, I know a lot about the players that United should be linked in. I enjoy doing the transfer shows, as all you do, and I've been quite vocal about the fact that, you know, Kessie's been vocal that he would love to come and play for Manchester United. Eric Bailly's been vocal about how good Kessie would be for Manchester United, but it doesn't look like we want Kessie, which is disappointing because I like him and I think he'd be a good signing. The only thing I would say is that he's obviously going to sign for Roma. I think he's going to be a very good player, but maybe just his age is the reason we're not going for him, because we have got Fosu Mensah, and I choose to take the positives today, that as much as I'd like us to sign Kessie, he's around the same age as Fosu Mensah, and hopefully we're investing in Fosu Mensah to play that position, but we do need to sign a centre defensive midfielder, and my hope is that it might be Matuidi, because he's 29, get a couple of years out of him, Fosu Mensah can work alongside him and learn, and then take on the mantle in a couple of years, so hopefully that's what will happen, but Kessie is a little bit disappointing. Summit says Blind can be our CDM. I think this is a myth about Blind. I think it comes up every now and again that people are saying Blind can be our CDM. I don't see any evidence of it, and I certainly don't see any evidence of Mourinho ever thinking it himself. But, you know, he could be used there. He could be used there. James Rodriguez, again, being mentioned. All I'd say about James Rodriguez from Real Madrid, good player, wand of a left foot. I wouldn't want to pay any more than 30 or 40 million pounds for him. If he was part of the De Gea deal, I'd want Rodriguez and another. But he is the same client as Mourinho, agent-wise. And if Manchester United want Rodriguez, we'll get Rodriguez. He wants to come to Manchester United. Do I think he'll come? I don't know. Part of me just thinks he won't. But if he does, I wouldn't be surprised again. I think that deal's there to be done. It's whether Manchester United wants to sign him. Yes, and that concludes it. Interesting. Always interesting with Manchester United. I think the Neymar thing, just keep an eye on it. It could happen. It could happen. If it did happen, it would be the deal of the decade, not the deal of the summer. It would dwarf Pogba. De Gea, I think we need to accept, is going to go. Unfortunately, the trickle effect is starting to come in from Spain now, and I predicted that a month ago. That if that did start to happen before the end of the season, then it suggests it's going to happen. It's the way Real Madrid do things. They don't do out of the blue signings. They like to build them up, to build up the excitement, and that is starting to happen now. Marco says he's got a feeling that Mkhitaryan will leave next year. Mkhitaryan not particularly good in the derby. He's had a bit of a mixed season. He can be fantastic, but yesterday he struggled. Sandre Ross, how about playing Tahith Chong on the wing, bringing Mickey central? Will struggle because Chong's out for the season with a knee injury. There you go. Antoine Greizmann. Yes, you can be unblocked on Twitter, but the reality is you're going to get blocked, I'm afraid, because of it's constant negativity. People don't want to see that on their timeline. If you're going to offer something constructive, then you can be unblocked. But you effectively become a troll when it's just abuse and negativity all the time. If you don't like what's being said on Twitter, don't follow us. That's as simple as that. But I think people get shocked when they get blocked on Twitter, when they're constantly just being abusive. People don't want to read that on their timelines. It's as simple as that. You're not going to get blocked on here because I don't see any problems with your comments on here. But thanks, everybody. And if that's the real Terry, I don't think it is, but you won't be on there for long. I heard somebody on about Martial having a bad game yesterday. Actually, idiotic, absolutely. In my personal opinion, it's idiotic to say that Martial played badly yesterday. He was being for those for the uneducated who were saying he was rubbish. He was not playing as a winger or a centre forward. yesterday, so he wasn't going to score 2 goals. He was basically a left wing back tracking Zabaleta all game because we were playing defensive, of which he did a very good job and worked really hard, which is why when he was subbed off, Mourinho gave him a hug and said he played really well. And actually, on top of that, he had a good couple of runs, but he was effectively a left back. I thought Martial did a job for the team yesterday, and that will please Mourinho more than anything. Thanks everybody for watching. We're back tonight at 8:30 as per usual with a preview of the Swansea game and a bit more. And there'll be more of you watching because it's a more reasonable hour. But thanks everybody for watching. I shall speak to you all very, very soon. Summit, it's getting better. Finally, thanks to everybody who's getting involved with the United Stand Members Club on Patreon. Quite a few of you signed up. The link is in the video description, the second paragraph. We've got, obviously, it's a private community for United Stand members. And we've got lots of chat and exclusive videos going up on there as well. So it's doing really well. I think it'll be a slow burner, but if you love the United Stand and you want to get into a community where there won't be trolls joining us, then get yourself on that. I'm actually going to upload a couple of bonus videos for you on there today as well, and lots of good ideas from everybody as well that we're going to put forward, but I can't reveal too much about those because some of them have to be kept within that community. But if you're interested, get involved. That's really good, and I'll see you all at 8:30. Thanks everybody for watching. And in relation to last night, I understand a few frustrations about my match reaction, but my match reaction is literally a minute after a game. And I give what I think. As I've said before, the next day I probably don't feel like that way. But I do think it was a wasted opportunity. I'm not happy that we approached it so defensively. I agree, though, that if we'd probably had a go, Man City could have found it easy to get through us. But they found it quite easy anyway. But it's a point. It's in the history. It's a point. I've heard people saying Pep schooled Mourinho. You don't get schooled if you don't get beat. They may have played the better game, but the result stands in history as a draw, a point for each. So we park it and we move on. And I'm feeling positive now. Thanks, everybody. Speak to you all very soon. 8:30 tonight.